Welcome to Manifest Solutions and Columbus State's Hackathon 2019. Thank you for participating. These videos are meant to walk you through the setup of your development environment for the track you have chosen this hackathon. You should have also received and downloaded a technical overview document that will provide you step-by-step instructions on how to set up your environment. You may use that document in conjunction with these videos. If you have any questions, please reach out to hackathon@manifestcorp.com for help. Thank you for participating in Hackathon 2019, and we look forward to seeing you on November 2nd.
Hello, and welcome to the tutorial video for setting up your development environment for the .NET project of the 2019 Manifest Solutions and CSCC Hackathon. Now, MSBuild stands for Microsoft Build Engine. It is a platform for building applications. This engine provides an XML schema for a project file that controls how the build platform processes and builds software. Visual Studio uses MSBuild, but MSBuild does not depend on Visual Studio. By invoking msbuild.exe on your project or solution file, you can orchestrate and build products in an environment where Visual Studio isn't installed. What Visual Studio uses MSBuild for is to load and build managed projects. The project files in Visual Studio .csproj, .vbproj, .vcxproj, and others contain MSBuild XML code that executes when you build a project by using the IDE. Visual Studio projects import all the necessary settings and build processes to do typical development work, but you can extend or modify them from within Visual Studio or by using an XML editor. But before we can work on the MSBuild environment, we must first make sure we have Git installed. You can open up any command line. I'll use command prompt for this and type git space -- version. You can see here that I already have it. If you do not have Git, it will tell you that the git command could not be found. If you do not have Git installed, you can go to the browser and type in git-scm. No, I don't know what the SCM stands for. And you can go here, then press Downloads, and then click on your appropriate OS. Obviously, we're Windows. If you're in Firefox, it will automatically put to your downloads. If you're in Google Chrome, it will show up here. So we will save the file. So now I'm in my downloads. I will click on the installer. And then here is the actual options for installation. I will pretty much do all the defaults. This is the editor that will show up when there are merge conflicts. I prefer Vim, but you can use Notepad++, Visual Studio Code, Sublime, Atom, Nano. And the rest of these, most people just tend to do the defaults. Now we will march on to actually installing Visual Studio, which is what we will use to build and develop on MSBuild itself. We'll go to the community version, which is the free version, because everybody likes free. Yes, save the file, Firefox. Go to our downloads. And here we'll find it. Now, make sure that you have a lot of free time set aside, because a lot of the installation steps revolving around Visual Studio Installer and MSBuild take a really long time. So now would be a good time to make lunch, do your taxes, figure out the meaning of life. That's your choice. So now we need to work on actually choosing the appropriate workloads to install into Visual Studio in order to appropriately work on MSBuild. Now, in order to see which ones to install, if you go to Google, MSBuild, GitHub, and click the first option, you will find all the instructions in the README here. So you will need the .NET desktop development and .NET Core cross-platform development. And there we go. Notice it will take up a fair amount of space. Notice that also some computers will have a separate C and D drive. My computer at home does, and the C drive is significantly smaller than the D drive. So you may need to install it on the D drive or an alternative drive instead. It will have reduced performance, but you get what you get. Alright, so Visual Studio has finished installing. It took so long that I literally went and made and ate my lunch and ate dessert. So anyway, you don't have to create an account in order to use Visual Studio, so we're going to skip that. We'll do that. Alright, so here's the startup screen. You're going to want to clone it from GitHub, and you can get it from the README here. You can also do it via command line, but it's easier to use the prompt that Visual Studio gives you. This will also take a minute as per the usual. Alright, next what you're going to want to do as per the instructions is you're going to want to copy this. And then you're going to want to open a command line. It doesn't really matter which one, but I'm using the one they provide because it's going to put you in the root of the project anyway. That won't work. This also takes a while. Alright, so the build has finished, and I'm sure you can see by the big bad red text that there is an error. Don't worry too much about this error. All this is really saying is that a dependency is not there that should have been. So we are just going to copy this. Google it. And then you will find the download page for it. It may download automatically, it may not. So now you can see it is successfully installed. You might want to restart Visual Studio. And then we're going to build it again. So as you can see, I've built it again and gotten more big bad red text. So this is fixed by then going and doing this. So the reason I didn't just have you install those dependencies that would prevent the errors to begin with was because I wanted you to see the error messages and see how to solve them. So now we are going to build yet again. And now you can see the build has succeeded. So this concludes our tutorial video for setting up your development environment for .NET. Remember that if you have any issues or there's any errors that show up that you don't recognize, Google is your friend, and there will be people from Manifest Solutions to help you at the hackathon.